I was saying we tried this a few years ago, and people dressing up. We just had a few people, of course, probably the people that aren't here right now, the ones that, I'm not going to dress up, I don't want to do that. So, we're going to have fun and eat stuff afterwards, so welcome. Welcome. Anytime you want.
Right on, kid, right on.
For some reason, I have been saving this since 2009, which is the last time I read it. It's out of the newspaper. It's actually a quote by Franklin D. Roosevelt. And it said, rules are not necessarily sacred. Principles are. Nice. Nice. Yeah. All right. And... the shortest and best way to make your fortune is to let people see clearly that it is in their interest to promote yours. In the fields of observation, chance favors only the prepared mind. Yeah, so you got to be ready for it. Candor and generosity, unless tempered by due moderation, lead to ruin. That was Cornelius Tacitus, 120 BC.
Wow.
So yeah. Smart people back then. So, all right, more T-shirts and sweatshirts, and nobody ever wants to buy one of these. Why is that? Never underestimate an old woman with a doctoral degree. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one. I'll one-up you. I've taken up photography because it's the only hobby where I can shoot people and cut off their heads without going to jail. I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. I'll clap when I'm impressed. If a woman says, first of all, during an argument, run away, because she has prepared research, data, charts, and you will be destroyed. I don't know what your problem is, but I know it's not mine.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. All right. And Jan, who made this for me?
Chris Powell.
This is Chris Powell.
Wow.
This was made, Chris Powell made this for me. I mean, it's just amazing work. Absolutely amazing work. Hat, everything. I mean, who can do that? Chris Powell. Yeah. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in pictures of silver. A smile of encouragement at the right moment may act like sunlight on a closed-up flower. It may be the turning point for a struggling life. Yep. Oh, yeah, and if you want to lose weight, weigh yourself when there's a full moon. You'll weigh less.
Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, obviously not very much. But, but yeah, it is true, actually.
Wasn't it a full moon last night?
It was a full moon last night.
Dang it,
I was kind of feeling light and airy, wasn't I?
Exactly.
We do have a couple patron saints by the name of George Carlin and John Lennon.
Yay, George and John.
And John said, as breathing is my life, to stop, I do not dare. Probably true. Probably true. And George, if all of our national holidays were observed on Wednesday, we could end up with 9-day weekends. And I did that. What did I do? Oh, I'm going next. I forgot. I got so confused. Oh, these were more if you were living in 2008. Every commercial on television has a website at the bottom of the screen. Leaving the house without your cell phone, which you didn't even have the first 20, 30, or 60 years of your life, is now the cause of panic, and you turn around and go get it. And this was 2008, so. You get up in the morning and go online before you have your coffee. You start tilting your head sideways to smile. Emoji. So you're reading this and nodding and laughing. Even worse, you know exactly to whom you are going to forward this to. And you are too busy to notice there was no number 9 on this list, and there really wasn't. So it went from 8 to 10, and so anyway. There you go. Don't have to do that again for another 10 years. 4 stages of life. You believe in Santa Claus. You don't believe in Santa Claus. You are Santa Claus. You look like Santa Claus. Yep. And children. The children were lined up in the cafeteria of a Catholic elementary school for lunch. At the head of the table was a large pile of apples, and the nun made a note posted on the apple tray, "Take only one. God is watching." Moving further along the lunch line, at the other end of the table was a large pile of chocolate chip cookies, and the child had written a note, "Take all you want, God is watching the apples." Absolutely. And I know the song we're going to play today, we've done it before, but it just has so much fun playing it. And you'll recognize it. It's fun. You can sing along if you want, but the video is just so much fun.
That, because of the Divine Fellowship, huh?
Yeah.
And now you know why Phil does the mechanical stuff or the electrical stuff, and I don't do that. Because I get screwed up. Phil, you were going to dispense with candies. I guess they'll wait. Oh, I feel a little discombobulated. What's wrong with me, Laura? So, got to church this morning. And plopped my... Oh, microphone. Oh, sorry. See?
Here, you guys just fight over it.
Sugar them up, yep.
Actually, this is more fun actually doing it one at a time.
I got one.
You got it.
Yeah, you're right.
Look at it.
We'll see who's a good catch or not.
And we got this.
Stop that!
Two people were drinking each other, hugging. Sit down. Get your dinner.
Phil, you missed a row.
Yes.
All right.
We'll wait. Thank you. A friend of mine made this for me when we did the Winkers. She and I did Winkers together, so she made me. Yours was yellow.
All right, you can start now.
What?
Now we are on a sugar high.
Yeah, you're going to be on a sugar high. Mm-hmm. See, I could just go blah, 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 blah. And you're like, yeah, that's all right. Oh, yeah, you did, I'm sure. So, I got here this morning. It's on. So I just... Sheesh. I'll try it differently then. That better? Oh, okay. So I got here this morning. I said that before, didn't I? And plopped my purse down on the speaker. We have a little portable speaker that we take when we go to the park for services. And it said, power on, ready to connect. Our discussion today is about powering up. So then I pulled my purse off and I thought, oh, I can't leave that on because it's, battery operated. It would be a problem. It wasn't on. So I thought, I was creepy. So I turned it on and it sounded differently but said, powering up, ready to connect. So I turned it back off again. So power up, kids. The power is here. Power's arrived for us to tune into. So I wanted to talk to you about powering up, and I think it's Halloween, we're having fun. I think there's lots of ways to tap into our power, or the power, or align our power to the power, so that we have power in our life. But I think there's different kinds of power, and I want to chat with you just a minute about that. The power that we're used to on a human level is the power that we get from manipulation and power from fear. Leaders use that, churches use that, but they extract power from the masses, so to speak, so they can feel empowered or be empowered. And people who buy into that can kind of sort of have a sense of a collective power. That makes sense? It's non-sustainable, meaning that you have to keep doing it over and over and over and over. The power I want to talk to you about is not based in fear, and it's not based in taking someone else's power. It's related to that divine power that is limitless and gives you the opportunity to stay plugged in, tuned in, connected in, and empowers your life. And the reason I came up with this is I read this Bible verse this week, and I don't even know why I was looking at this, but I don't know. I've given up trying to figure things out. And I don't understand the verse. Makes it even more fun. I don't have to know what it means. But it triggered something in me that was like, ooh, And I love that, because then that means I don't have the answers, and it means maybe nobody else will either, so I'm not stupid. I'm just clueless, and I get to be clueless. It's all right. So if you don't get it either, that's great. If you get it, let me know, okay? So it's in Hebrews chapter 7, and they're talking about the high priest Melchizedek. Now, a little bit of history, sorry, boring stuff, but unless you're Roy, and then it's boring. He doesn't. Then it's history. Ooh, wow, I've got Roy's attention. In the olden days, there were the Jewish people, and they had a royal priesthood, a priesthood that if you were the son of Aaron or an offspring of Aaron, you could be a priest. If you grew up in any other tribe, or if you were born into any other tribe, you couldn't be a priest. So they stumbled across this guy Melchizedek who was worshiping God, and they said, "Well, he can't. He's not from the tribe of Aaron." And they were told, "No, he's okay. Not because of the law, but here. He has become such not on the basis of law of a physical requirement." In other words, he wasn't born into it. They're really talking about Jesus, but anyway, whatever. But according to the power of an indestructible life. Wow, that's the part that got me. The power of an indestructible life. And then they went on to say that we're all priests. Okay, cool. This means you don't have to be born into a particular lineage. You don't have to have a birthright in order to be able to worship God. You can do it. And you don't need a priest above you to do it for you. You're it. You can do it yourself. You can worship God. You can worship higher power. In whatever way, you have that connection. You know the right thing to do. And you can be connected directly. And not by the power of the law, or the law of physical requirement, but by the power of an indestructible life. What's the power of an indestructible life? How many people have read Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements? Some. I'm not sure I could quote them all. It was brought to me, so here it comes. One is having, being impeccable with your word. Say what you mean what you say, do what you say. If you say you're going to do it, do it. Being impeccable with your word. I don't remember the other 4 offhand. Or the other 3 offhand. But it's living your life honorably. Honorably. I have more to say about that. I'm going to read you this one. This is also in Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 5. And they're also talking about being designated by God as a high priest according to the order of Melchizedek. Concerning him, we have much to say, but we're not going to listen to it right now. Solid food is for the mature, who because of practice have their senses trained to discern good and evil. Train yourself to discern that which is good and discern that which is not good for you. You all have a built-in BS-o-meter. And when somebody tells you an untruth, it goes, and you can feel it. Can you not? But we tune ourselves out. We shut that down. Oh, that's a leader. I should believe that. Maybe, maybe not. Trust your guts. Trust this BS-o-meter to tell you the truth. But here's the thing. Our BS-o-meter can get calibrated wrong. If you've grown up thinking that love hurts, your BS-o-meter is miscalculating. Because then you're going to think, oh, I have to have relationships that are painful, right? Readjust your BS-o-meter. It's not tuned in right. Make sense? Then you don't have any power in your life. Because if you're not loving the right kind of thing, you're not in the right groove, you're not discerning appropriately, you'll be fooled, you'll be deceived, you'll be sucked into fear. But when we're in alignment with what is good and what is right and what is pure and what is true, and we ponder on those things, more of that comes to us. More of that feeds our awareness. 1 Timothy 1:7, for God has not given us a spirit of timidity, but of power and love and discipline, or also a sound mind. A sound mind. A sound mind is not confused. A sound mind can go, oh, I don't understand that, but it doesn't shake them up. It doesn't terrify them. A sound mind goes, oh, I'm not sure what to do next, but they're not fearful. They're not timid. They're not afraid. Because we have this spiritual connection that grants us discernment and grants us this power. And our life becomes indestructible. Meaning, superpowers. I mean, we're all dressed up for Halloween right here. We're claiming our superpowers. Some of us more so than others. Good witch, bad witch. Private joke, sorry.
I resemble that.
You resemble that. Yes, you do. One last thing. But the natural man does not accept the things of the Spirit of God, for their foolishness to him, and he cannot understand them because they're spiritually appraised. So let me translate that into different words for you. The natural, the physical form, our humanness, doesn't understand spiritual things. The Spirit of God, this power, doesn't understand it. It seems foolish. And he, meaning he, she, we, it, they, all of us that are human have this sense that they can't understand it because they're not spiritually appraised or spiritually tuned in, spiritually connected. Power on. Ready to connect. See, we power up, ready to connect. That's the key for us, is being ready to connect. Because then we have available to us power that is beyond human comprehension. How many of you had an experience where you had no idea how that all worked out, and it did? That, yeah, a lot of hands up on that one. That's the power of an indestructible life. That's the power of connecting in. And we can tune in and connect in anytime, all the time, and we don't have to worry about our battery running down. Because it's infinite. It's infinite. Now the good news is that we connect in. We are learning how to do that. I teach taught a class yesterday that helps people tune into their intuition. And we learn how to access that intuition and how to disconnect from that intuition. Because otherwise, sometimes some of us are so connected in, we get too much. But we're connected in here, and we're on overload because we feel too much stuff. When the key is, if we're tuned in here, connected to Source, then what we need will come to us, and we'll be aware of it. We can't miss it. That makes sense? But when we're not connected, then there's too much of this bombarding us all the time. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by others' energy somewhere? Yeah. Yeah. So when that happens, tune in. Connect up. Connect up, power up. And that will grant you the ability to discern. Because we go stupid when we're stressed out. They've done clinical studies that prove that when you're under stress, instead of using the cognitive mind, which is in this part of your skull, your brain, we go back here to the primal brain, which is fight or flight or freeze. So I've told you this story before, but it's so funny because it's my brother and I just think it's funny. He was teaching a class, a college class, and they had audio-visual equipment, and it had a glitch. Kind of like me with maybe it runs in the family. It might. So anyway, he was having a glitch with that, and he said, he knew about this stuff, and he said, I felt myself go stupid. I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know where to look. I didn't know how to manage it. I couldn't even ask for help. I couldn't ask for help because I went stupid. And fortunately, he had someone in his class that was an expert at audiovisual stuff and ran the audiovisual department and said, hey, I can help you with that. Stepped aside and let him start, and he could feel his brain coming back. When we're under stress, we go stupid. It's an anatomically effect of stress. How many people have stress in your life right now? Oh, maybe one or two in this audience. Yeah. And then the rest of you are fibbing. Yep, there's a fibber. So our tendency is to go stupid, the fight, flight, or freeze. We walk around not knowing what to do, shoulders tense. Yep. So here's the thing: if we power up, that gives us a break from that. That's like stepping back and asking for help. Am I the only one that has trouble asking for help? Must be. Yeah. But we don't even think of it because when we're stressed out, we get locked down. And when we're locked down, we're locked out. That's still there, that higher power, that energy is there for us. But when we get locked down, we lock it out. It's there. So the key is to be in the moment and be able to notice when we go stupid. And go, I'm going stupid right now. And being able to just stop and power up. And power up can look a million different ways. How do you power up? Might be different than how I power up. Prayer is the fastest way. But you know, what do you tap yourself in the heart space? I need to power up. This will break the tension long enough to go, I'm not the stress I'm in. We think we are. We think it defines who we are. It's not us at all. It's just stuff happening around us. But this grants us access back to ourselves, which grants us access to that discernment. And when we have that discernment, we have power. We're connected in. We have the power to make a choice. When we're fight, flight, or frozen, there's no choice in that. We lose the power of choice. And when we lose the power of choice, we're locked down. We don't want to be locked down. We want to have that connection so that we can move forward in a powerful way. We can have power in our own lives, power in the actions that we take. Something else I want to tell you about that. Oh, okay. So this connecting in, let me say it this way. You can't regroup without the group. You can't regroup without the group. And that's why the Divine Fellowship is really kind of fun, because, you know, the week happens, stress builds up, blah, blah, blah. But then when you get around other people of like minds, it's easy to power up. It's easy to feel the joy. It's easy to get into that space of being able to be connected, is it not? So that's why it's really important to have companionship or people that you can trust that are on the same wavelength about this sort of thing. When we had our group yesterday, it was really fun because there was like, how many people were there? Like 30? There was quite a few. And it felt wonderful because here's all these people on the same page, tuned in. And it was great. It felt wonderful. And then you go out in the world and go get groceries and it's like, That's the scariest thing, is going grocery shopping or something around people who are oblivious. But we get oblivious. We got to cut them some slack, because being oblivious is a natural state of being. And some people are just in survival mode. And that's okay. We don't judge them for that. We just recognize that our ability to tune in can help them tune in. And the clearer we are, the clearer access they have. And when we have that access, then love abounds, joy abounds. It's the best day of our life, no matter what's going on in the world. No matter what's going on in the world. So this powering up, I want to do a guided meditation for you to help you power up and reconnect. Assume the position.